We're back for our daily college basketball best bets here on Wednesday, January 14th. Yesterday, a 3-2 or a 4-1 day. I'm going to say it's 4-1. Okay, San Jose State wins by 8 points yesterday against the Air Force Falcons. When I made the video yesterday, okay, the only odds you could find were -8.5. By the time that video was posted, though, the odds were down to 7.5. And then eventually that game closed at 6.5. If you want to say yesterday was 3-2, say what you want. It's whatever. But I'm going to consider that a 4-1 day, okay? Those lines closed and moved right after I made that video yesterday to San Jose State -7.5. And I mean, if you did play -8.5 for SJSU, I'm sorry, I don't think those odds are still up by the time I posted at 5 a.m. But if you did play that, I apologize. San Jose State covers though on every closing line that game had, so it is what it is. Either 3-2 or 4-1, however you want to say that day yesterday. Regardless, we had a good day. Villanova going out and beating up on Providence. How about Kent State going to Buffalo and beating the Bulls? The only game that we didn't get at all was Iowa State. That was really horrid. I should have locked in more on Iowa State's recent struggles. And then SJSU, again, however you played that game, I'm going to take that as a W. I know, again, yesterday's line wasn't the same, but again, that game closed at 6.5. I don't know. And by the time the video was out, it was at 7.5, so it is what it is. Say what you want on that one, and then UNLV doesn't easily cover that game. Phew, man, UNLV tried to not cover at the end of that game. UNLV covers 4.5 at home against Boise State. So, positive day yesterday, regardless of the final record. Good day yesterday, looking for more of the same today. We've got another big slate of college basketball, of course, on a Wednesday. And folks, before we get into the video, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for some more daily college basketball best bets here on the channel. Later today, we're going to have our NBA best bets, so make sure to join us for that, along with our college football predictions dropping later today for the national championship in Miami, Florida, between the Miami Hurricanes and the Indiana Hoosiers. You're not going to want to miss that. 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern later today here on the channel. Additionally, yesterday we posted our NFL divisional round predictions. Of course, 4 games in the NFL, our final 8 teams, of course, to the Super Bowl. Check out that video. That's going to be linked in the description down below as well. Okay, on to the first now of our 5 best bets today for college basketball. Let's get things going again early today. We were on fire yesterday, early in the slate. Let's look for more of the same success today. As we start things off in the Patriot League with Lehigh going on the road to Boston to the Case Gym in Boston, Massachusetts to take on the Boston University Terriers. I'm going to go with BU at home. Can someone explain to me why the odds are where they're at? Okay, I look at this game and I watch these teams. I don't know why BU is an underdog here. Am I missing something? I don't know why the Mountain Hawks are favored to win this game when the game is literally being played at Boston. It's a BU home game. I don't understand. I mean, I was looking, is Michael McNair hurt, the top player and top scorer for BU? No. Is something going on at Boston University? No. Is Vegas putting putting money into this game? I don't know. I mean, there's something fishy because on paper, the better net ranking team is Boston University. The team that's been playing better basketball as of late, they're pretty even. But throughout the course of the year, pretty even too. But Boston University, I think, has a better roster, better net ranking, obviously, and they're at home. Why are they dogs? Why are they dogs against the Lehigh Mountain Hawks, who I guess have put together 2 really good victories? They beat Holy Cross at home by 8 points. They went to Colgate and won by 1. We expect them to, as I would think, underdogs, obviously not Vegas-wise underdogs, but in a game that they're likely not expected to win, at least, from the non-gambling perspective. You think they can do it for a 3rd straight game? They're not supposed to beat Holy Cross. They're not supposed to go to Colgate and win. They win both those games. We think they're going to pull off a statistical upset again? I don't think so. I'm not buying it. I think BU wins this basketball game. And I'm not going to ignore the fact how poorly Lehigh played prior to these last 2 games. Lehigh started the year very poorly, obviously played some bye games, but I mean, we're talking, lost at home to Columbia, loss at Marist, lost to UCSB, that's not a bad loss. Losing to Binghamton on the road, that's a bad loss. Losing to the Binghamton Bearcats by 9 points. An LIU loss at home, a Monmouth loss on the road. Losing to Army, losing to Bucknell on the road. I don't love that. And yeah, 2 back-to-back wins are huge against Holy Cross, against Colgate, that's awesome. Can they go to BU and win? I just don't think they can put together another upset victory. This team's led in scoring by Nasir Whitlock. Whitlock, by far their best guy. He's been ice cold in their last couple games, though. Whitlock has not gotten going scoring for the Mountain Hawks, and yet they're still winning games. Last 3 games for Nasir Whitlock, after having to play 43 in an overtime loss to Army, Whitlock plays 35 minutes and goes 3 for 11 from the field against Bucknell, only scoring 11 points, and had 8 turnovers in that game, by the way. Then against Holy Cross, 35 minutes for Whitlock, 2 for 9 from the field, 10 points. And then against Colgate, only 23 minutes, 3 for 8 from the field, 12 points. Whitlock has not played well since playing 43 minutes against the Army Black Knights. He has been the leading scorer all year long for the Mountain Hawks. In his, I guess, absence, at least scoring-wise, they have gone to Edouard Benoit. Benoit is back. If you get that joke, you get it. It's not a joke, actually, but, well, it kind of is. Yeah. Anyways, Edouard Benoit, averaging 12.5 points per game. Last 2 games, though, he's been on fire for the Mountain Hawks. 22 points against Holy Cross, 27 points against the Colgate Raiders. Colgate Raiders, right? Yeah, the Colgate Raiders. Benoit's been pretty good for the Mountain Hawks in the absence of somewhat, I guess you can say, of Nasir Whitlock. And Benoit actually is back. He returned after being injured for about a month and a half. His return for the last 4 games. Obviously, when I'm talking about Benoit is back, I'm talking about the Monday Night Raw graphic. Okay, nothing beyond that situation, if you understand what I'm talking about there. Okay, the situation was very messed up, and obviously that's now 20 years old. My goodness. Anyways, I'm taking BU to win this game at home. Again, the way Nasir Whitlock's been playing, I know, again, Edouard Benoit has been huge for this team. I like BU. Again, I mentioned earlier, I don't think I'm missing anything. I have not seen any reports that Michael McNair is not playing. I haven't seen a report that Ben Defty's not playing. Those are the 2 best guys for BU, which we're going to talk about in a second. And of course, I will always say this, night before games, I'm recording this video at 1 o'clock in the morning. You're seeing this, obviously, in 4 hours or later. It is hard the night before to see, always, availability projections and reports on Patriot League teams. But I have not seen anything on these guys being out of now. I don't think that's going to change. So I think legitimately Vegas just believes Lehigh is going to win, and obviously more money has come in on the Mountain Hawks already. I don't understand that. I mean, the line opened as the Mountain Hawks, I believe, is slight favorites, and obviously it is now ballooned to minus 130 for Lehigh again as of 1 a.m. But we look at BU, Michael McNair averaging 16.5 points per game. Ben Defty is their big 7-foot center from Berlin, Germany, averaging 13 and 6 this season, just put up 18 points in the Army game. This has been a very productive player for them all year long, and these 2 guys, again, have dominated throughout the entire year. McNair, we just talked about the 29 points against Lafayette, the 28 points against the Army Black Knights, and I guess the one thing you can say about BU, compared it to the Mountain Hawks, is that they haven't beaten the best teams so far, but ultimately, look at the 4 games they've played in the Patriot League. So they play Navy and American. We talked about those 2 teams earlier in the week. Obviously, that game did not go our way. Navy couldn't score the basketball. I mean, whatever. Boston U loses to Navy on the road by 5 points. Well, that's supposed to be the best team in the Patriot League. I still expect that team to likely win the conference. And then their second loss is to American University, the same team that just beat Navy, who's likely going to be, again, Navy and American U, I believe, are 1A and 1B in the Patriot. So Boston University loses to American U 64-62. Okay, and then you go out and beat 2 teams you're supposed to beat. They blow out Lafayette, and they beat Army as well. When McNair is not doing the scoring, it's usually Chance Gladden. Gladden's averaging 13 points per game. He's their 3rd leading scorer behind both Defty and, of course, McNair. Gladden just dropped 26 points against Army, was outshined, I guess, by McNair, who dropped 28, but it shows you, again, the capability this team has to score. Gladden averaging 13 points per game. This is a very productive freshman for this team coming from Raleigh, North Carolina. I like what BU's got more than Lehigh. There are players up and down the roster that can score. And as for the Mountain Hawks, it's been just Benoit recently. Whitlock, again, has been their best guy throughout the course of the season, but recently in games, it's just been Benoit in their wins. Hank Alvey also averages 14 points per game for the Mountain Hawks. We haven't mentioned him yet. He's one of their bigs. He's averaging 14 and 7. He's actually put up 21, 26, 20, and 20, so I'll give the man his due there. The problem is his matchup is going to be Ben Defty, who very much outsizes him in this matchup. Defty, 7 feet tall. Hank Alvey, 6'9", sophomore. So I think a lot of advantages go towards Boston University here in this game. I believe BU is going to get this done as well. They're at home, too. I just don't understand why they're underdogs in this matchup. If it means anything from last season, BU beat Lehigh twice. Once at Lehigh, once at BU. Boston University won both those games. The first one at BU by 5, second one at Lehigh by 11. Again, different rosters, I understand. But, I mean, hell, Nasir Whitlock's still at Lehigh. So I'm going to take BU here. They beat Lehigh twice last season. They should be able to do it again. I'm going to go BU at home. Give me the plus money on the Terriers to win the basketball game, kicking the day off with plus 110. Now, with our next best bet, again, continuing the theme of early games. Yesterday, we struck gold on our first 2 early games yesterday. I'm going to do the same thing here. We took a 3 o'clock game with the BU game, and now we're looking at Butler versus Xavier. I'm going to go with the Butler Bulldogs to win this basketball game at minus 120. Butler is too good to be 1-4. That's right off the bat. That's what I'll say about this team. They are way too good to have the record that they have, at least in the Big East. Throughout the course of the season, this is a 10-6 squad taking on an overall record for Xavier of 10-7 and a 2-4 year so far in Big East play. I understand Butler is going on the road here. They're going from Indianapolis to Cincinnati. That's no longer than a 2-hour drive. That's a 2-hour drive. Very, very, close game for Butler. Not much of a home court advantage, I believe, for Xavier, other than the fact, of course, with the fans and the crowd or the environment at Xavier. But Butler should travel fairly well into this matchup. And Butler, I'm not going to say other games, they've been right there. But the problem is, they've played the best team so far in the Big East. I mean, arguably, they have played the 4 best teams in the conference so far. I mean, you could really say that. They played the 4 best teams plus Providence. They played UConn, lost by 19 points at UConn. Creighton on the road, lost by 4. Nova, lost by 12. St. John's, lost by 14. Actually, I can pretty confidently tell you those are the 4 best teams in the Big East. Seton Hall, don't care. Right? Those are the 4 best teams. And I know what you can say. Well, Xavier has a big win earlier this season over Georgetown on the road. And I've been pretty high on Georgetown. Yeah, Georgetown hasn't played well at all. So, there's that. Both these teams have beaten Providence. Xavier beat the Friars 97-84. We saw yesterday Providence at home without Jason Edwards loses that game to Nova. Shout out to the 8th-year senior Devin Askew. I'm slightly joking there. 7th-year senior. Regardless, shout out to Nova for getting that victory yesterday and dominating that game until the last 5 minutes where Providence tried to make a comeback. We were fine. Weird thing too, real quick. Same exact game script in both of our early games yesterday. Legitimately. I mean, there was a point in time yesterday where that Providence versus Nova game and Buffalo Kent had the same exact score and both of our teams were up 11. Again, same exact script. Both of them almost choked it at the end. Ultimately, we got the win in both of those. But anyways, I'm going to go with Butler here to beat Xavier. Xavier 2-4 in the Big East. Yes, a better record currently than Butler. Look at their wins. Georgetown on the road. Georgetown isn't what I thought they were going to be. Providence at home. Providence isn't very good. They don't play defense, and they turn the ball over way too much. Xavier's losses. Marquette on the road by 1 point. DePaul on the road to CJ Gunn and company by 9. Losing to UConn at home by 23 points. It might have been more, 23 points. And then losing to Creighton at home by 31. Okay, teams have been able to walk into Xavier and beat them, except Cincinnati. They beat Cincinnati at home. Other than that, there's really not a great victory for Xavier. I guess the Providence win too, but everyone should be able to beat Providence this season. I'm not too concerned with Butler going on the road and beating this team. Okay, Butler, I'm not going to use the saying they're due. I'm not, because that's not always the case. But they've played good enough basketball, and this is too good of a team to fall to 1-5 in the Big East, especially losing to Xavier. Because again, you got to think about this from a grand scheme, it's not a great way of putting that. But look at this from the perspective of Butler. Okay, so far you start your Big East play playing Providence. Okay, you win. High scoring game, that's what Providence is going to do. I'll tell you this about the Friars. They're not going to back down from a fight. They're going to keep punching back, and they're going to keep scoring. So when you think you have the Friars put away, no, they keep coming, and they're not going to stop coming. Regardless, right? That's what Providence is going to do. So Butler outlasts them in Indianapolis. They beat them 113-110. Okay, so you get by that one. You got to play UConn. It is what it is. Okay, obviously, they're not supposed to beat UConn. Butler doesn't get that one done. Then they go play Northwestern. Random non-conference game, obviously. Well, not random because you're going into Christmas. They play Northwestern on the 20th, neutral site game. They win it by 3. They play in Indianapolis, technically neutral site. Again, it's 10 minutes away from Butler. They play at the Pacers Arena. Regardless, Butler wins the game. Okay, so now Butler rolls in they beat the Institute of Technology of New Jersey, and then you roll into Creighton on the road, Nova, and St. John's. And I understand losing to Nova and St. John's at home, you would have liked a better fight in both those games, but ultimately it is what it is. We know what St. John's can be at their best. I know, we talked about St. John's the other day, and St. John's, losing to Providence. They've looked pretty good so far in Big East play, with the exception of that one Providence game. The Johnnies are now at 5-1 in the conference. So I am not too pressed on that loss. I'm not pressed on Butler losing to Villanova as well. We just saw what Nova can do yesterday. That team can get out and score. Not too concerned. They should be able to beat Xavier, because we look at what they have later in the week. On Saturday, they got to go to Seton Hall. Seton Hall's ranked now. Miami, Ohio, by the way, should be ranked. Just want to put that out there. They keep on winning. They beat CMU by 40 yesterday. Can we rank the Red Hawks? What are we doing? Can we rank Byers in the Red Hawks? Anyways, Butler's got to play Seton Hall later in the week. I don't know if they're going to win that game on the road. Probably not. This is their chance to get one. If you don't win this game, you're screwed. So we're looking at the Bulldogs, right? Finley Bizjak leads their team in scoring. The junior guard averages 16 points per game, just dropped 21 against St. Johnny's in Butler's last game. He's been a pretty good scorer for them all year long. They also look to a couple other guys to score again. He's their main guy. They got Michael Ajayi, who averages 16 as well. And in some games, you get Johan Traore scoring big numbers, but it's a lot of Ajayi and Bizjak for this Butler Bulldogs team. As for the Musketeers, obviously, you get Patino coming on over from New Mexico. He brings Malikovic and Borikovin with him, but Trey Carroll's been their leading scorer this season, averaging 16 points per game. Rhodey Anderson, averages 13 as well. Again, Borikovin has been huge in the rebounding game, averaging 9 and 8 is the Serbian senior. I gotta take Butler here, though. I think Butler's too good of a team to keep on losing. You look ahead of their schedule, too. I mean, this is their shot to win one on this road trip. You go to Seton Hall on Saturday. I don't think they're going to lose a DePaul matchup coming up in about a week, but really, you gotta take advantage of the spot here. And I just don't think Xavier's as good as Butler, and it's not that far of a trip for the Bulldogs either. Again, they're going to get on a bus and go to Xavier here. I think they should be able to win this game. I gotta go with the Bulldogs to win. Give me Butler minus 120 to finally turn their fortunes around. Butler gets it done in their second Big East game, or second Big East win of the year. On now to our third best bet of the video. I'm going to do it again. Guys, I don't know why we keep getting these odds for Niagara, but until this gets shifted, I'm going to continue to fade this team. Now, real quickly, I have not covered a Canisius game yet on the channel. I haven't covered them yet, okay? Dating back to last year, I had no reason to pick the Golden Griffins. Guys, I didn't know this was their mascot. I'm not gonna lie to you, whenever I saw the Golden Griffins, like, mascot, obviously, and I see them all the time, right? I don't, like, specifically, I'm not gonna lie to you, like, I don't go out of my way to watch Metro Atlantic games, but when I see them, like, and you watch the ESPN broadcast, you don't see their logo on the score bug. What the hell is this? I just assumed they were always an eagle. Like and again, I never actually, because obviously I never had to make a graphic on them, on the Golden Griffins. So I never enlarged the logo. I just I'll scroll by, oh, okay, that's an eagle. And when I've watched games too, I just think it's an eagle. It's a lion eagle? What the hell is this, man? I'm shocked. This low-key scared me. Like, why does this eagle lion have wings, and who came up with this? This has got to be some 1910s thing that someone designed 100%. Anyways, I'm going to go with the Lion Eagles to win, the Golden Griffins. Did the Golden Griffins to win the game at home and likely dominate the Purple Eagles. We will continue to fade this team until they don't give us odds like this anymore. But here's the thing. Again, Niagara, legitimately one of the worst teams in college basketball. I don't care they beat Sacred Heart. We started fading them at the right time. We took Iona to beat them in New Rochelle. We took Manhattan to go beat them in Manhattan. And now we're going to take the Golden Griffins to beat them in Buffalo. Okay? Maybe Niagara's fortunes change when they come back home to play Mount St. Mary's. But then after that, they jump right back on the road. Who hates Niagara to give them the schedule? At Iona, at Manhattan, at Canisius. Again, all New York teams, but still, obviously going to different parts of the state. Obviously, Buffalo a lot farther than the other two. But then, okay, then you get a home game against the Mount, and then, okay, get right back on the road. You're going to Connecticut to play Fairfield. Then they go to, who are they going? They're going to go to Sacred Heart after that. So get on the road, or I guess they're both in Fairfield, I guess. But regardless, who hates this team? Someone in the Metro Atlantic does not mess with the Purple Eagles, and they're the worst team in the conference other than likely Rider. Sacred Heart, I don't know. I think Sacred Heart probably beats them the second time around. Rider is really awful. But Rider at home low-key puts up a fight. Niagara will do that too. Anyways, I gotta go with the Golden Griffins here. Games in Buffalo. Give me the Golden Griffins to win. Absolutely. Guys, Niagara is awful, and I'll be honest with you, this is not as much as, I really like the Golden Griffins as I think Niagara sucks, but if I continue to get lines like this, why wouldn't I take it? I know, again, the Golden Griffins this year have not been phenomenal, but they're 3-3 in Metro Atlantic play. They go out, they win 3 Metro Atlantic games in a row after starting their Metro Atlantic season 0-2 by losing to St. Peter's, losing to Siena, both on the road. But what do they do at home? They pick up wins, beating Fairfield by 4 points at home, beating Sacred Heart by 4 points at home. And then they go to Manhattan, beat Devin Dinkins and the Manhattan Jaspers. And their last game in New Rochelle didn't go their way. The Gales beat them 74-48. It is what it is. You're going on the road in that one. All right, make Niagara now come to Buffalo. I mean, again, this team's been on the road. In all fairness, they've been in New York the entire time. But this is a team that's been on the road for a while now. And sure, again, they're just in their home state, but they're finishing up their road trip, going to Buffalo of all places. I gotta go with the Golden Griffins here. I absolutely have to. Niagara sucks. And yeah, I know, again, it's kind of tough taking a team in the Metro Atlantic to cover points. I'm going to do it here. I'm going to do it here with the Golden Griffins. The Golden Griffins led in scoring by Khalil Singleton. Singleton averaging 13 points per game for the squad. This is a junior, I believe from Washington, played 2 years over at Holy Cross. Now here with the Golden Griffins and starting for the Golden Griffins. And then there's Brian Ijona, who's averaging 12. He's their Cameroonian center. Put up 26 points against the Jaspers. Expectedly, obviously, that team has no interior presence and no bigs, so he's able to dominate. 19 points against Sacred Heart, 18 points against Fairfield. He's in his junior season. Played a year at CSUN over in Northridge, California. Then a year over for Central Michigan. Now, obviously, here with the Golden Griffins. As for Niagara, this team sucks. We say it all the time. I hate picking on these guys, but I have to do it. Like some other teams in the Metro Atlantic, Manhattan, this team has no interior presence. Bigs dominate against Niagara. Boom! Brian and Jonah, you're going to dominate today. 6'9" center, big from Cameroon. He put up big numbers against Manhattan. If he's putting up numbers against the Jaspers who can't play inside, he's going to do the same thing to the Purple Eagles all day long. We talk about all the time, Niagara, just not very good. Justin Page is their leading scorer. He's the only player on the team that averages double digits, dropping 12.5 so far this year. Former Cal Poly product, now here obviously in Niagara or playing in New York. This is a player who can score. The rest of the team, no scoring, no big play. This team is awful, okay? So, unless the Golden Griffins are absolutely awful, which I don't think so, okay? From what I've seen this season, they're not great. They're not this bad, though. It's a whole nother level of bad, Niagara is. Same team, by the way, that lost to Morgan State. Yep, the MEACs Morgan State, who we felt very confident in NC Central beating that team. Exactly, okay? Niagara is on another level of bad. They've won 3 games all year long against Division I opponents. Sacred Heart's awful. Binghamton, awful, even though I'll give them credit doing that on the road, but still not a great team. And then Delaware State, awful out of the MEAC. Niagara is a horrible basketball team this year. I got to go with the Golden Griffins for the first time on the channel. Give me these Lion Eagle, whatever the hell they are. Canisius at home to cover 2.5 points. Money line's not playable. I'm okay with 2.5. All of their home victories so far in the Metro Atlantic have been by 4 points. Hey, we'll take another 4-point win tonight. I don't think it's going to be that close, though. I think we likely get a Golden Griffins victory by about 7 points. Give me the Golden Griffins at home, minus 2.5. On now to our fourth best bet of the video as we move on to a matchup in the ACC between the North Carolina Tar Heels and the Stanford Cardinal. I'm going to bite on North Carolina. I hope I'm not wrong, okay? I hope I'm not wrong biting on UNC. I know the last time we had a North Carolina play on the channel, it did not go our way. Obviously, North Carolina had lost or did lose over at Southern Methodist to the Ponies and the Mustangs, or whatever you want to call them. I'm going to try again. Okay, the only reason Stanford is this close at all to UNC in terms of the odds and the spread, money line is playable, by the way. If you want minus 145, take it. I have a feeling that's going to continue to shift, though. I'm seeing some books already having that listed at minus 150, minus 155. Currently on DraftKings, it is minus 145 as of 1 a.m., so take that as you will. I'm going to take the minus 2. We'll see if that bumps, but I'm going to take the minus 2 on UNC. Okay, I'm going to take North Carolina to cover this against Stanford. The only reason Stanford is close is because of their star point guard, Abuka Okori. Okori is phenomenal. True freshman. This is a player who's averaging 22 points per game, hit the game winner at Virginia Tech. He is a 30-point bucket pretty much in every single game he plays. 20-point bucket in every single game he plays with the capability of easily getting into the 30s. Okori is a very good basketball player, carries the Stanford team on his back, undoubtedly. I still think North Carolina can get it done. I know this team has not played that well this season. They have struggled on the road so far this year. Well, no, they struggled at SMU. That's about it. Struggled at SMU. Southern Methodist hits every single shot against this team. And here's my thing about that game, and compared to the Stanford game too. Okay, Stanford's got two guys who can shoot really well. It's Abuka Okori, it's Benny Geeler. Other than that, I have no confidence in anybody else in this team scoring. And don't start with Chisholm Okpara. Okpara's okay. He's not great. Okay, Okpara is going to miss bunnies. He's going to get right underneath the basket, and he's just going to brick. Okay, so Corey, I like a lot, by far best player. Benny Giler, you're not going to rely on for consistent scoring, but he's like a Cam Spencer. He's going to hit threes. When you need him, he starts and plays quite a bit. But like, unlike Cam Spencer, obviously he comes off the bench from Memphis. But, you know, if you need him to score, he's going to, right? But Corey's going to command the ball a lot. Corey's going to work the offense quite a bit. And he's played phenomenally well. Again, been a very pleasant surprise for Stanford. I have a feeling that he's going to leave Stanford at the end of the season because he's going to get paid next year to go play at, I don't know, North Carolina or Duke or Mississippi State's going to pay him a boatload of money to become their next Josh Hubbard. Maybe, but at the same time, he was at Stanford, though. But that doesn't matter now in this day and age. Like, if I'm a Corey, I'm thinking, okay, NBA likely. I mean, 6'2" point guard, we'll see. But, I mean, you're thinking NBA, get me, I know Maxime Reynaud got drafted out of Stanford, but, get me to Mississippi State where I can go take 28 shots per game. I don't know. Just a thought. I mean, I guarantee you Mississippi State's looking at a Corey and thinking, whoa, Josh Hubbard? Again? All right, let's do it again. Let's go. I'm telling you, that's what a Corey might be at Mississippi State if they decide to pull the trigger. Depending on what, again. We'll see what they do in the portal in the offseason. Anyways, I got to go North Carolina here. Stanford's only close in this matchup in terms of the odds and everything because of Corey. And Corey's a phenomenal player. I'm not going to deny that at all. UNC is the better basketball team, by far. It's just... Again, the reason the odds are like this is because of Corey and because of the travel. North Carolina, obviously, coming from Chapel Hill all the way over to Stanford or to the farm, wherever you want to call it, Palo Alto, California. I checked, by the way, tickets to this game are $150. Really? I thought about it. I was like, oh wow, UNC's coming to town. I saw $150. Are we dead ass? And then I saw like 70, but still, I'm okay, thank you. I'll watch the game on my television set. And I can think Stanford versus Duke. Oh, no, Stanford Duke's 150. This one's like 75. Regardless, North Carolina is the deeper team. They're the better built team. And the only reason the odds are like this is because of the travel and a Corey. Okay, I just see Caleb Wilson to show up. Caleb Wilson was very mid in the SMU game. We have not relied on Caleb Wilson at all this season. And up until the SMU game where he played the worst game I've ever seen him play, and the worst game he played all year long, right? The Southern Methodist game for Caleb Wilson was awful, right? I've been hyping up Wilson quite a bit, right? I believe it's a clear top 3 in the NBA draft, okay? It's, in order, I'll say, DeBonsta, Peterson, Boozer. I don't want to put Caleb Wilson in that same tier because he's not on that level yet. But yes, he is the 4th best player in the draft class. He's going to get picked 4th, most likely, right? Depending on fit, he'll probably go 4th. This is a phenomenal athlete, 6'10". He's averaging 20 and 11 this season. And then we had him in the SMU game. I talked up Caleb Wilson, and then he proceeded to drop 13 and 7. Next game against Wake, close win for UNC. Caleb Wilson puts up 22 and 12. The FSU game prior to the SMU game, how about 22 and 16? And then when we take him, he has an awful day. Can't make anything in the second half and goes 13 and only has 13 and 7. Okay. All right. We just need him tonight. We need Caleb Wilson tonight. There is some help, you know. Henry Visar has been good. He's their center. He's averaging 16 and 9. The Estonian product just put up 25 and 9 against the Demon Deacons of Wake Forest. Seth Trimble, obviously a big part of this team, who is back. Trimble getting back into the swing of things, playing well. Played well in the SMU game. He was the only thing that kept them in that one for the most part. Against Wake, only had 10 points. But again, Trimble, experienced guard, senior season, obviously all 4 with UNC. He's been very good. At least recently, he's been good throughout his career. What can I say? Stanford, though, again, a lot of Corey, Benny Giler, Chizumak Para, Oscar Gitai is one of their bigs as well. I believe, is he Israeli? I think he is. Belgium. Oh my goodness. Very different part of the country, or part of the world, kind of. I'm gonna take North Carolina. I'm going to take North Carolina here. I think they win this game. I think they can cover 2. If you want to take the minus 145, take it. Again, I'm just expecting these odds to move a little bit, so I'm going to go -2 on UNC. I think Caleb Wilson has a massive day. I know Corey Egan's been carrying the Stanford Cardinal team. I think UNC can limit him enough, and I believe the Tar Heels win the basketball game and cover the 2 points. I'm not too concerned about their travel. Stanford's just not on their level. I mean, I looked at the Cardinal welcomed in Notre Dame and scored 40 points. And yes, they had that home victory against Louisville. That's great. Went to VTech and won. Lost to Virginia. Back at home, I think North Carolina gets them before they have to get geared up to play Duke in just a couple days. Give me UNC on the road -2 to beat the Stanford Cardinal. On to our final best bet of the video we go and finish things off in the West Coast Conference. I can't believe I'm doing this. Full transparency, this is bet number 5 today. Like, not just in order, obviously, but in terms of confidence, this is number 5. But I do think Oregon State beats Loyola Marymount. I believe they do. Okay, and I know what you're thinking, and if you've watched these two teams play this season, and if you know their records, well, LMU's 11-8. Loyola Marymount beat USF at home. They beat Pacific at home. Oregon State honestly has not played that poorly in Corvallis. Away from Corvallis in WCC play. Let me make that very clear. In Corvallis, Oregon State has actually been pretty good. Away from Corvallis, they've been awful. Okay, Oregon State away from home has just been atrocious this season. But at home, that's a different story. At home, Oregon State has played good basketball. They've had 3 games at home in the WCC. Their first game, okay, got blown out against Santa Clara. It is what it is. Next two, though, hold on. Beat San Francisco by 8 points and beat Seattle U, a good Seattle U team who I know is underperforming currently. And I've changed my, the target for Seattle University was compete with the top dogs in the conference this season, and now they're just going to play spoiler, I think, for the rest of the year and maybe make a Cinderella-esque run in the WCC tournament. Anyways, though, Oregon State beat Seattle U. They beat San Francisco at home. On the road, they haven't played well. They went to Stockton, lost to U of P by 31 points. Went to Wazoo, lost by 14 points. Went to Portland, played a competitive game, but ultimately lose the Pilots by 6. It is what it is. This team ultimately, though, at home is 2-1. It's not expected to beat Santa Clara, but they find a way to beat Seattle U and beat San Francisco. I know Loyola Marymount just beat San Francisco as well. It took them overtime. It took the referees, double overtime. It took the referees rigging that game for the Lions. I'm not moved. Not moved at all. LMU has lost 3 out of their last 4 games, and on the road in the WCC, they're 0-3. Losing in Pullman to Wazoo, losing in Spokane, obviously one of the most disgusting efforts I've ever watched out of a basketball team trying to compete over in Spokane against Gonzaga, and then most recently losing at the Levy Center to Santa Clara by 31 points. They have not played good basketball on the road all year long, and sure, you know, these teams that they've lost to, even Wazoo included, Zaga, obviously, and Santa Clara, are slightly better than Oregon State, I understand. It's still a team that has struggled on the road throughout the entire year. I think they went to UTEP early in the year and won, not moved. Went to UCSB and won. That's a good win, I'll give you that, obviously, with UCSB coming out of the Big West. But still, I'm going with Oregon State here. I'm going with Oregon State at home. I think they're a very capable team at home. You look at their wins against San Francisco and Seattle U, they just play better defensively at home for some reason. Scoring-wise, they're going to sit likely in the high 6s and in the 7s, which I get can get a little tricky against Loyola Marymount, who just scores points. But the way Oregon State's been playing everybody at home, they limit you, they shut you down, they play lockdown defense, holding USF to 62 points, holding Seattle U to only 55 points. And you know what Braden Maldonado and the Red Hawks can do? That is a very capable team and a very high-scoring team at times. And again, the Beavs hold them to just 55. I thought it was a decent effort in Portland a couple nights ago, only losing by 6 points. Again, that's a Portland Pilots team that I think is about on the level of Oregon State, and Portland finds a way to win. Okay, you know, Williams and Foxwell find a way to win. It is what it is. I like Oregon State to beat LMU here, especially when we look at how these two teams have played, and we look again, just the splits between home and away. LMU, 0-3 team in the WCC on the road. Oregon State, 2-1 team at home, coming off 2 consecutive victories in the WCC at home to some decent teams, obviously in San Francisco and against Seattle U. The Beavs, led by Josiah Lake. Lake does everything for this team, leads the team in points, rebounds, and assists. He's averaging 13, 5, and 4. This is a player who has been good for most of the season. Recently, though, oh boy, Josiah Lake has kind of disappeared. How about 9 points against Pacific, 8 points against Wazoo, 4 points against Seattle U, and only 10 points against the Portland Pilots? So you may ask, where are we going to get our scoring tonight? Well, we're going to have to see a couple different players, because in the last couple games with Josiah Lake kind of just disappearing, they've had a different leading scorer in their last 5 games. One of which is Isaiah Sai, who averages 10 points per game, but he put up 18 against USF. And then their next game against Pacific, Johan Munch averages 6 points per game, puts up 12 in the Pacific game, leads them in scoring. My goodness. Des White then leads their team in scoring against Wazoo, puts up 16. He averages 11 points per game. Jorge Diaz-Graham leads them in scoring against Seattle University in a win. Guys, Diaz-Graham averages 4 points per game and 14 minutes per game. He puts up 13 to lead the team in scoring against Seattle University. And then most recently in their loss to Portland, Olavi Sutella, who averages 5 points per game, puts up 19 against Portland. What is going on? They find guys to just produce out of nowhere, with Josiah Lake kind of just not showing up these last couple games. Lake's still playing the entire game. He's playing all but 4 minutes, and he puts up 8, 4, and 10 points in the last 3 games. What are we doing? So here's the thing. Josiah Lake is kind of, I don't know what else going on. He's due for one. I'm just going to put that out there. He's due for a better game. But what I will say, and I'm not banking on Josiah Lake playing a great game tonight. What I am banking on, though, is someone to show up. And that's ultimately what we've gotten so far out of the Beavs. somebody shows up on any night. And I know, again, that's not great. There's no consistency in an elite scorer. And usually, again, you'd think that would be Josiah Lake, who is still doing a lot in terms of playmaking. He still takes the ball up the court. He's going to find the open shooter. He's going to, again, create for his teammates. And that's still what he's very productive in doing, regardless of the fact that he's not been able to score. The fact that 5 different players in their last 5 games have led them in scoring and none of these guys average 10 points per game, that's massive. Other than Des White, that's massive. Because you can find scoring up and down your lineup now, and now there's multiple guys on the team that have confidence. I don't mind it. LMU, we've seen them go through their long streaks of poor shooting and poor scoring. Okay, that's a team, again, that goes through these long streaks of inactivity, we can say, against a team that's playing really good defense at home in Oregon State. Sign me up. We know, again, what Rodney Brown, Myron Amy, and Vide can do. Again, Brown averages 14, Amy averages 14, Vide averages 14 as well. All those guys can score. But against a defensive-minded team that has all around just played better defense at home so far in WCC play, I'm gonna go towards Oregon State. I think the Beavs get this one done. I think they can win it, and they're dogs. I like it quite a bit. Again, 2-1 at home so far in the WCC, 0-3 on the road so far as Loyola Marymount. Give me the Beavs at home, -105 to win to cap off the night. Folks, thank y'all for watching our college basketball best bets here on January 14th. If you have not yet, though, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy the video. Make sure to comment if you disagree with any of the picks. We'll be back tomorrow for more daily college basketball best bets. Folks, thank y'all for watching, and Mamba forever.